Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has talked up a constructive meeting with the Solomon Islands hardline leader at the Pacific Islands Forum in Fiji. In a surprise moment, the two leaders greeted each other with a hug. So let's bring in Jonathan Lee, who's at the forum. He's live for us in Suva this morning. Jonathan, good morning. Few people could have seen this coming.
Well, Bulavanaka, Pete, no few people would have seen it coming, especially after the Solomon Islands said their relationship with Australia had soured. Of course, the Solomon Islands rejected Australia's entreaties and signed that security pact with China. We didn't know if there was going to be fireworks when Manasseh Sogavare met with Anthony Albanese yesterday, but he actually fell into our Prime Minister's embraces, the two meeting for a hug. Normally they go in for what's called a grip and grin, a handshake followed by a cheesy smile for the cameras which are present, but that certainly wasn't what we saw yesterday in an unexpected gesture. The two men coming forward together, and there was no sign of a rift between the two leaders. It's the third time they've actually spoken. The Prime Minister speaking on the phone once, and then Penny Wong also speaking with the Solomon Islands Prime Minister since coming to office. But this is what our PM had to say this morning about their meeting and about that security pact which the Solomon Islands has signed.
Now, look, they're a sovereign nation, and we've got to respect that. But what we need to do as well is to make clear what Australia's interests are, and obviously the interests of Australia would not be served by having a military base so close to where Australia is, and so close to where Queensland is as well.
Pete, there's hardline diplomacy, and then there's also the soft variety. The Prime Minister last night actually held a small Origin function here with the Papua New Guinean Prime Minister. There was also a few other delegates there who were present watching the Origin game with him. Congratulations to you, I should say. But the real issue here, while we might be talking about security, local leaders are deeply concerned about the environment, climate change, carbon emissions. They would like to see Australia go much further. In fact, Frank Bainimarama, the Fijian leader, actually tweeted yesterday after his one-on-one with our Prime Minister. This is what he had to say. He said, "Australia's new climate pledge is a step up that Fiji has long sought. But out of the duty I owe every young person in the Pacific, I have urged Mr Albanese to go further for our family's shared future by aligning Australia's future to the 1.5 degree target." Obviously there he would like to see Australia step up further and have a moratorium on coal and gas. This is how Mr Albanese responded.
Action on issues of concern to them, and the number one issue for them is of course climate change, because it's a threat to their very existence, and my government's changed position on that has been very much welcomed by them.
Today's the crux of the forum of the summit, Pete. We have the leaders' photo, the family photo today. We also have the leaders' summit, the leaders coming together to sit around effectively around table and discuss what this is going to mean for the region, what they're going to achieve. That will all be part of a 2050 strategy, which will inevitably be presented. Don't forget, the last time these leaders met in 2019, Australia really was a pariah nation. Scott Morrison was thoroughly criticised for Australia's position on climate change. Local leaders asking us to do more. At this stage, the new Prime Minister is being embraced, but don't think for a moment that leaders behind the scenes aren't encouraging Australia to go further when it comes to climate commitments and really step up here in the Pacific, where they're seeing it first and foremost.
Yep, well, that class photo has just wrapped up. While you were speaking, we had those images being taken. They were all gathered for that traditional photo, and only took a couple of minutes because there's several more meetings for all of those leaders to get to. So that one has wrapped up, but it has just happened, and Jono has referred to that, so we'll turn some of that around a little bit later on. Jonathan Lee, live for us in Suva. Thank you.